guys and gals, and welcome to another video from the team here at BlenderTech.com. If you enjoy it or learn something from the video, consider liking it and to subscribe for more Blender, Unity 3D, coding, and all sorts of other CG related videos. Lastly, don't forget our motto, create your way. So I realized I was going to need a bucket hook for the hydraulic crawler excavator that I've been modeling for my sandbox game and that I've been doing a tutorial on, and you'll really never see it up close, so you don't really need a high poly model. You could really just go with a really basic box modeled one. But lately I've been making models in fairly high polygon counts so that I can kit bash them later, and just for the simple fact that my opinion is you can always go from high poly to low poly much easier than the reverse. So anyways, I found this great side view of a hook, which is exactly what I want, and then later if we want to add a safety latch, that'd be very easy to model in. And then this part right here is just a torus, so essentially you can ignore it, and then so we just have to model this hook part here. So I thought about what would be the easiest way to do this. So I started off by attempting to do it this way with just some extruded cubes. I guess they're moved out of position now, but that was very unclean and it would have led to a lot of vertice pulling and pushing and edge resizing and scaling, and yeah, it just ended up being a mess. But what I ended up deciding on was, hey, why not the skin modifier? I've been using it for my digital sculpting class, and I thought this is perfect. This will create the perfect base mesh for what I need. So as you can see here, I've got the perfect hook shape to start with, just like that. And it didn't take me long at all. It only took me a few minutes. So let me show you the process that I used. I just added my background image of the hook anyways. So all I did was I'll just undo all the way to the beginning. Let's see if my undo history is still there. Nope. No, it is not. I will have to redo it. Alright, so I'll show you guys how I did it. Skin modifier, very powerful. So I just started with a single vertex in the middle here. And I find this easiest to start off in wireframe mode. Then just start extruding some verts in the general middle of the object, in this case our hook. And not at too high of a frequency, but not at too low of a frequency either. You gotta find a nice middle ground. With practice you get better at it, but generally just nice even quads are the best. Now it thinks that my vertex I'm working on is the root, but we're going to change that. So I'm going to set this as the root. And so now we just have a basic cubular hook shape, but it's just cubes. And if you added, say, a subsurf, you start to get the idea, but that's not quite what we want. What we need to do is work with the we need to work with the skin modifier. So what you need to do is just start scaling the vertices. And if you haven't seen my skin modifier tutorials, then scaling vertices might seem weird to you, but basically what it does is you press Control A and it scales the mesh created by this vertice up and down. Let me turn this solid mode and you'll see it better. Control A, you can see it does it that way, and you can do it in any axis. I can scale along just the X, just the Y, or the Z. I just start from the side view and in wireframe, and then I just start getting everything to line up. So I'll time lapse this and I'll show you guys how I did it. And so you can see how in certain places it creates extra geometry when needed. But now we have this beautiful hook shape that really is more or less the right profile without doing too much with the skin modifier. Now if we turn the subsurf on, we have much closer to a hook shape. In fact, I'm quite happy with that. If we turn the resolution up, say to something like level, you know what, even just level 1, it's pretty good. That is essentially the hook. Then all we need to do, I'm going to leave that like that for now because that still needs some tweaking, but essentially I would move my cursor to this point. Actually, no, I just move it into the middle there. What am I thinking? But from side view anyways, and in object mode I would add a torus, F6, and align to view. Now we need to, well, that's the perfect inside diameter. What are the odds of that? Anyways, I guess we need to scale it up. Yeah, we'll have to manually adjust the inside loop. So we'll just grab the inside loop. Is it that one? No, that one. And then we can just scale that in. And we need to do the rest, otherwise it would have a really horrible shape, but you get the general idea. We would then take that one, we'd scale it up somewhere in the middle. I'm just guessing here, 0.8, 0.9. Same with this one here. Come on, scale 0.9. And there you have it, the basic shape. Now, obviously, I'm going to go a lot more detailed with this, but that is the basic shape of our hook. So I'm going to use this. I will be joining the meshes together eventually. Like, I would assume that this needs to be a lot wider, so I'd have to scale it in the X, something like that. But yeah, I'll just play with the skin modifier. I'm actually really happy with this profile, to be honest, and I really... Let's see, let me play with subsurf because I want it flat on the sides, but I still want it curved where it needs to be. So if I turn up the subsurf level, I'm happy with that. Those normals are a little off, but that can be adjusted fairly easy. It's not too many polys to play with, and it's actually only 3,000 tries, so it's not that high poly yet. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that shape overall, actually, and the profile. It gets a little bit smaller right there. Maybe I'll adjust that somewhere in here, I think. So from the front, yeah. So I'm just going to go Control A, sorry. Just make it slightly fatter. Get that profile right. Yeah, that looks nice. Maybe a little bit smaller. Just hold down Shift. Something like that. Yeah, I like that. Cool. All right, nice. That is looking good. So yeah, in just a few minutes we've essentially got the basics down, and I am going to be texturing it like this. I don't know if I'm going to be going for the I don't know what you'd call this, kind of like an, what do they call this, some sort of plating, or maybe just like stainless. I'll probably go for a stainless look, but I am going to go into Photoshop and get some grunge brushes and add some rust and make a normal map for these letters here, displacement map or something that'll get that effect nice, and yeah, we'll have this looking pretty much like the photo. So just follow along with me and we'll see if we can't get this thing modeled. I'm going to time lapse a lot of this because I don't think there's a lot of need for this. However, when you search on YouTube or Google how to model a hook in Blender, there's no tutorials out there. There's lots for using the hook modifier, but there's none for actually modeling a hook, which is exactly what I needed and wanted. And I did a lot of searching, and yeah, there's just simply none out there. There's one thread on how to model a fishing hook, but that doesn't really fit my needs at all. So I had to figure out a way myself. So yeah, I'm going to start from this point. I'm going to apply my skin modifier. And now I'm just going to work on, I guess I can bring it down one division. I just want the size flatter like that. So I'm just going to, I should have done this mirrored. Oh well, it's easy enough. So yeah, I'm just going to, ooh, I can't bring those points out because it's a subsurf. I'm going to have to apply the subsurf at the level I want. Well, I can add my subsurf, then later I can always add another one at one level and I go to that. So I'll need 2 levels of subsurf. So I'll have to apply my level 1 subsurf. Or sorry, go back. So I'll have to apply my original level 1 subsurf. So I'm going to apply that. Actually, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to save this before I get any further. This is a habit I've gotten into. Just so that you can always go back if you decide you don't like something. So I'm just going to call this lifting hook, and then I'm just going to press the plus little symbol here, and that'll append a 1. So every time I make what's called a landmark, which is basically you've modeled something, a feature of a model that you're happy with, I save and append another number to it, so that I basically have a series of files that get better and better and better. And if I decide I don't like something, I just go back to the previous version. So yeah, now I'm going to model the actual, or now I'm going to edit the actual polygon. So I'm going to apply that, tab back into edit mode, and I need to flatten this all out. So shouldn't be too hard. Should be able to basically just use this box and then select, yeah, and then just grab it along the X. I don't know if I want it I don't have vertex snapping on. I have it increment by stock. So I'm going to grab along the X with vertex snapping on and snap it to there. That's a good place to start. Completely flat, and we'll do it to here. I could actually just select that whole plane, but I don't want to do, or that whole loop, but I don't want to do that, I don't think. Let me try it though, just for what do you call it, experimentation's sake. So scale along the X, flatten it out almost all the way. We don't want it going in on itself. We still want a little bit of extrusion. Actually, that works surprisingly well, because really the sides of a hook like this are fairly flat, and then the rest is all nice and curved on the inside. So that actually works pretty good. I am actually going to stick with that, I think, because if we went and applied smooth shading now and gave it some sort of edge split at a certain degree, yeah, something around 25 to 30 degrees, you would get that effect, which is close to what we want. I might have made that too flat, because I still want to be able to see a little bit of that extruding out. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to undo the smooth shading, and maybe I'll take that loop and extrude it out just a little bit more. So I'm alt right clicking to select that edge loop. It's the other good thing about the skin modifiers. It makes really good, or really great topology, that is I want to scale in the X a little bit more. Just a little bit, just enough so that we can play with smooth shading here, just to get a general idea of what this might look like in the end. So add another edge split, find the angle. Yeah, that'll work. So if we choose an angle of 20 degrees, we get a nice bevel everywhere, but it's still nicely smooth shaded where it needs to be, compared to if we didn't have that, or if we didn't have that and it was just flat shaded. And there you go, you can see all the polys. So yeah, I'm going to smooth shade it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to apply that. I'm going to fix those normals there. And now that I've done that, I'm going to save this as number 2. I won't be saving this often, but this is just the beginning, so just a starting pace, basically. And then once I start getting into some more details, then I can stop saving so much. But I like having a lot of versions at the beginning. So these normals look off to me. Let's open up our normals. Yeah, those are all backwards. I need to flip their direction. That's the problem with that. So, turn off limit selection to visible. Turn it on, I guess. And then we just need to go down and flip their direction. There we go. Now they're pointing in the right direction. And I think all my other normals are good, as far as I can tell. Alright, cool. So it's not the perfect shape of the hook, but I think it's a pretty good profile, and that'll work out good for us. So next up, we need to, what should I do? I don't want to go into texturing this right away. I want to finish the model. So I'm going to take this torus. I should have actually made less, because instead of doing all that, I could actually just use the torus's properties. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually just delete. Well, first I'm going to, oh, my cursor's already there. So I'm actually just going to re-add the torus. Hit F6 for the operators panel. I'm on align to view. And we just need to change some details. Major segments. That can go way up to like 64, nice and smooth. Minor segments we want to go down though, because we don't want to, well, you know what, it does look pretty smooth in the picture, but at the same time, oh, come on. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. No, the hook is a lot flatter versus the lifting hook part. Lifting, whatever you call it, whole thing. But either way, I don't think I need that many segments. How many segments do I think I need? What is 12 stock? Even multiples look nice in my opinion, but anything higher than 12 starts to defeat the purpose I'm looking for here. 10 looked nice, so did 5 though. 7 looks decent, I think. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna stick with 7. I like that shape. And that's a low enough poly count that I can work with that, I think. In fact, I'm going to turn down the amount of major segments back down to whatever it was at stock. 32, I think. Like a normal circle. Because that's easy enough to make it look smooth. So now we can scale that back up in object mode so that we keep our origin point. I'm going to actually keep the inside like that, and I'm going to scale the outside loops. That should be easier. So I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to grab these loops, holding down Shift and Alt to select them all. And I'm going to go side view, and I'm going to scale them up. And that'll give us the flat side that I'm looking for while still keeping the slight roundedness that I want. And if I want to make it even rounder, all I would need to do is go and add a loop cut. Oops, wrong Marco key. A loop cut, just like that, and then scale it up. And I could get an even rounded view. So that's why having this torus as another base mesh is very useful, because it has perfect topology, obviously. And if I wanted to add more topology in this area, I could do that too. So starting with medium polygon, a medium poly torus, but we need to get it looking nice to join to the hook. But I want to model this part too, and that kind of eludes me. Well, it doesn't elude me, it's pretty easy, but to get it to flow with everything is going to be interesting. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it part of the hook. I'm just going to duplicate this vertice so that this is going to be a separate part of the mesh. I want that center vertice there, and I'm going to just trace this out and then extrude from there. So trying to keep 2 vertices at every corner so everything's even. And then from here it really doesn't matter, because that'll all just be inside of the hook, so I can go somewhere. Turn on wireframe, so I can just throw it somewhere in there. Go in there. Whoops, that's not the start, that is. I'm gonna have to hide the torus and just work on this. So I'm gonna fill that, and I'm gonna quadify this if possible. Faces, grid fill, Those are all quads. Yeah, that'll work for now. We'll see what happens. Alright. So we have that basic shape. Now we don't have a front view, obviously, but we all know what a hook looks like. We can unhide our torus now. And we just want it to be roughly as wide. So I'm going to select just a single vert from this part here. And I'm going to go Control L for linked. And that'll select just that part. And I want to scale it along the X. I want to extrude along the X, sorry. And get my rough shape. So yeah, I don't want it thicker than the torus, obviously. And I don't want it the same diameter, I don't think. I want it slightly shorter. So about 0.3. Yeah, that'll be a good size to work with, and then we'll go to the other side and we'll do the same thing. We will select this entire edge loop. Actually, we could probably just go mesh, mirror, X global. Let's try interactive mirror, because I know the mirror can be interesting sometimes. Must be because it's right. Is it right on the center line? Yeah, so I should be able to just add a mirror modifier in. Or, okay, along the y-axis. Z-axis. Okay, there we go. Turn on clipping, merge, apply. On object mode, that is. And we should be good. Let's make sure that doesn't link it to the torus in any way, and it doesn't, so we're good. I'm happy with that shape. We just need to pull a few vertices around. So I am going to just move these vertices in. Limit selection of visible turn back on. I'm just going to grab them along the Y and move them back in slightly so that they're intersecting, and everything else intersects nicely. So that's good. I like that. So now we just need to create that hole. Overall, though, I'm happy with that shape. It will take a little bit of refinement, like we would have to maybe add a subsurf and some loop cuts and add some extra geometry in there. But for now, to add extra geometry, I need a circle. And we're going to do a boolean modifier. So I'm going to add not in edit mode, in object mode. I'm going to add a new circle. F6, align to view. I'm going to scale it down. A little bit bigger. I'll move it over here. I'm not going to go right to the drawing or the photo. And now I'm going to go to side view, and I'm going to grab along the X. I'm going to extrude it along the X. It doesn't matter what size it is as long as it's going through the model. Cool. I'm going to fill everything in. So we have a cap on each end just to make sure. I'm going to recalculate the normals so that it's the same. Now we need to do a boolean modifier. So I'm going to call this bool1. This is just a habit I've gotten into, or just bool. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to add a boolean modifier. We want the difference, and the object is bool. We should be able to hit apply. Ooh. Maybe not. Okay, let's get rid of this subsurf and see what happens. And if we move this out of the way, it cuts a hole, but it gets rid of our torus. What the heck? Okay, well, there's an easy fix to that. Go into edit mode. We'll select what we created here, and we'll just make it a new object for now. So just P, separate by selection. That's torus 001, which now has a boolean modifier. I want the difference of the bool. Apply. In object mode, come on. This one, sorry. Grab that out of there, and we have a nice hole. So let's see how that affected the geometry. Yeah, it just added a few triangulated faces, and we will be triangulating all faces in the end anyway, so that it can be used as a game engine object, because like I said, I'm going to be using this for my game engine. But that's a nice and easy quick way to add a hole. So we now have our hole, and we could re-add this to our torus if we wanted, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. I'm going to save this. Now that we have that done, I'm going to save it as lifting hook 3. But anyways, I'm trying to keep my tutorials shorter and shorter, and making them into multiple parts so that my the audience retention rate goes up. Because right now I'm sitting at about 25%, which is average or slightly above average, but still very low. I want to get that up higher. So I'm going to leave this here for now, so that you guys know how to model a basic hook like this. And in the next part, we'll get the polygons all set up nice and neat. We'll join everything together nicely, and then we'll UV unwrap it, and then we'll make a nice texture for this. And I'll show you how I go about the process of making a realistic looking texture, and a normal map, and a spec map, and maybe a displacement map for the writing on it and everything, the load rating and whatever. The load rating, not writing. And yeah, that's about all there will be to it, I think. Like I said, I'm gonna keep this. It's high poly for a game object. It'd be about probably that big on the size of my excavator, if that. So it is fairly high poly, really, for what I need at, what are we at, 1800 tries, and I haven't even triangulated it yet. So anyways, you can about double that figure at least. Anyways, yeah, I'll leave that there, and we'll fix everything up in the next part, and then we will UV unwrap it and create some nice textures and get a very realistic looking hook that can be used in a render or in a game engine. So that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching from the team here at BlenderTech.com. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, please like it. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos. We're now on Twitter, also at twitter.com/blender_tech. That's at blender_tech. And Facebook at facebook.com/blendertechpage. All one word. If you want a hard copy of our videos, just let us know. If you dislike this video for some reason, please tell us why, so we can constantly improve based on community input. We also take requests. So see you next time, and remember, create your way.